This season, Instacart has your back to school. As in, they've got your back to school lunch favorites like snack packs and fresh fruit. And they've got your back to school supplies like backpacks, binders, and pencils. And they've got your back when your kid casually tells you they have a huge school project due tomorrow. Let's face it, we were all that kid. So first, call your parents to say I'm sorry, and then download the Instacart app to get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes all school year long. Get a $0 delivery fee with your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 an order. Additional terms apply.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to This Song Is Yours, a music podcast where we chat to a new guest each week, talk about their life and creative endeavours, and talk to them about some of the music they love. Our show works by chatting to our guests about music, but also getting them to make you a playlist of the songs they love. You can find a link to our playlist in the show notes. Welcome to episode 117. I'm your host, Simon Fink. Our guest today is Ash Lune. The Brisbane-based singer-songwriter has just announced her debut EP, and to celebrate has released her new single, Before. In today's episode, we're speaking with Ash about the new EP, space podcasts, and we bond over our shared love of the OC. Here we go. Our guest today is an incredible Mumbai-born singer-songwriter. Now based in Brisbane, Australia, she's just announced her debut EP, Broken Science Experiments, and has released the single Before to celebrate. Please welcome to This Song Is Yours, Ash Lune. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Very good, thank you. How are you today?
I'm good.
That's good to hear. We are here to speak. I'm going to slightly cut right to the chase, but then not at all, if that makes sense. We're here to talk about your new single, Begin, today. We're here to talk about Before.
Everyone makes that mistake. It's so normal. Everyone calls it something that isn't the actual name because it's so short. It's like a word you use every day. You just forget it. But people call it believe or beyond. And I'm like, shit.
I've been listening to the track, and I know that sounds silly that I say that now because I just got the name of it wrong. I do want to talk about Before and also talk on the EP, Broken Science Experiments, which I believe I did get correct.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, beautiful. The first thing I kind of wanted to touch on was I know that you're a big fan of podcasts, maybe not music podcasts, but I know that you're a big space podcast fan.
Yeah. I used to listen to the BBC space podcast. Sorry, I can't even speak. I used to listen to it while I used to shower, and I'm literally water's running, and I'm listening to this astronaut having an interview, and I'm like, yeah.
What was it about the space podcast that you had an interest in or that you found? Yeah.
I'm just very fascinated by space and astrophysics and everything. I always wanted to go to space, so getting these opportunities to learn a little bit more about things that I didn't know anything about is great, especially early in the morning. We're taught as human beings to learn early in the morning. We're sent to school since we're so young. I think early in the morning, that is the time when our brains can really grasp a lot of information. So anything that you plop into your brain at that time is going to stick with you probably for the rest of your life, hopefully. So I always listen to it in the morning, but also just the experience of how astronauts feel in space, or, what they see, and, dark matter and everything.
It is a fascinating kind of I guess realm almost to kind of comprehend, and that's actually a very interesting point that you made in terms of we do go to school in the mornings to learn, and that I think that kind of drops off as you get older. Yeah. as I mentioned before, we are here to talk about your new single Before,
Of course.
which is a gorgeous track. Congratulations on the new single. It seems to have been very well received so far.
Oh, I hope so. I don't really go around asking people, "Oh, do you like it? Do you like it?" I would love to. Be honest. I'm a bit of a control freak. I would love to do that, but I cannot. It would be improbable for me to be able to do that. But thank you so much for your kind words. I'm glad you like the song.
No, of course. Sonically, I found the song really, really interesting because I feel that it's like a little bit singer-songwriter-y, but it's also like a little bit pop. Like it seems to have some really interesting elements sonically. And I was curious, before we get on to what the song's about, how do you approach the song, the musical aspect, like the actual chords and the sound of the song?
So this song, I've never really said it in an interview, but we had a really big issue with the chords of the song and the way they changed in terms of the timing. Because when we wrote the song, it was very like classic Bon Iver. There was no build. It was actually written with no intention of me writing a song that day, and it was not going to be on the EP. It was just going to be something simple. And well, the timing of the song is quite different with the way the chords change compared to a lot of the classic pop songs, the way they go from 4 bars. But so when we actually had to build it into this pop sort of thing, a little bit, we had that reference of like Arcade Fire. We tried to like build it like that. When we were building it, we had an issue fitting like different drum sounds and, you know, like the timing of drums and beats, just because the chords changed so randomly in the song. And we wrote it like that. The thing is, I still have like recordings of me writing that song, because everything in the studio that I do, I record on my phone. And I actually have it on this voice recording on my phone. And Tom, like the wonderful, wonderful songwriter, producer, who wrote this with me, he was like, "Oh no, shouldn't it go this way?" And I'm constantly like, "No, I wanted to stop at a half beat." And he was like, "Are you sure? Like, do you know what you're doing?" And then finally, obviously, it's a very trust the process thing. We did end up making it like as beautiful as I at least wanted it to be. And yeah, so it was actually way more challenging than any of the other songs on the EP. Before took the longest amount of time, because we came back to an acoustic version of a song that was tricky with timing, and then we made it into this sort of a little bit poppy kind of Arcade Fire, like that build. So yeah, we had to go back to that. So Before took the longest time.
I think that the time spent has paid off. I think that the endeavours that you guys have gone into have been. It was worth it in the end. It is a song that I feel maybe isn't addressed as much in music, but kind of it talks about like the never-ending chase of happiness. That even if you're after something and that you're able to achieve that happiness, you simply then readjust the goalposts and, you know, like move on. Do you find that is a constant in your life?
Absolutely. I felt like I've like been chasing happiness since I was like 6 years old or something. I would think, oh, once I get this, I'm going to be so happy. You know, when summer vacations come, I'm going to be so happy. And then like, and when you get older, it's like, oh, when I graduate, I'll be so happy. When I get into Australia, like get my visa, I'll be so happy. When I get into the university of my choice, I'll be so happy. When I get my degree, like when I graduate, I'll be so happy. When I get signed, I'll be so happy. Like all those things happen, but like my goals just shifted. It's like those things are just, you know, in your head, and they don't really mean anything. But I feel like we as human beings need that, you know, something to look forward to all the time. Let's say you had nothing exciting going on for you in the week, you would probably just be depressed. We all as human beings just look forward to something all the time, because that gives us something to live for.
it is a kind of beautiful sentiment when it is wrapped up like that. When you approach writing a song, that kind of, because I imagine it does, depending on the outcome of it, it can be quite like a heavy or weighty subject. Like, how do you approach writing it without leaning too heavy into the seriousness of the nature, if you will?
So that is where my songwriter helps me a lot. I have a tendency, like, I can write really dark music and, you know, get all metaphorical, get like poetic with my lyrics, but I still at the end of the day want my audience to understand me. It's not like somebody's forcing me to be relatable or forcing me to write music a certain way. I do have a certain goal. I want to like make my music like poetry, and I want it to really be about what I want it to be about. Like, I don't want to sugarcoat anything, you know, like it is what it is. But at the end of the day, I also want it to reach a large amount of people so that, you know, the message can get across, or like, you know, and to be able to do that, I do have to at times, you know, tone something down, or, you know, not get too ahead of myself. And I guess that's where my management helps me, my songwriter helps me. And I work with Tom a lot. We took a long time to build that trust, and he knows a lot about me. It's very scary to go into a studio with a new like person there, and then you're just gonna be like spilling your guts. So this person like right in front of you and talking about things and writing about things that you would never say out loud, and that's really daunting. So I guess building that rapport is just so important, you know.
Of course, the working with Tom, I believe, has resulted in, obviously this song. There was Panic at the Party, but we've also got, as we mentioned, the new forthcoming EP, which is out in February. How excited are you to kind of have not just any music is exciting, but to kind of have a body of work that's coming out? What are your thoughts on, finally releasing it?
Well, I've never really had a body of work come out like this before, so I have nothing to compare it to. But it's exciting. I'm not going to tell you it's the most beautiful thing on the planet, and I am 100% high on that every day because it's also terrifying. I feel like nobody talks about how terrifying it is, you know, with the whole expectations that you put on yourself and other people put on you. And, you know, other people will never say they expect anything from you because they just know that you expect enough for the both of them. And it's definitely something that I am so excited about. I'm so proud of it. I think it's one of the most honest things I've ever written. But yeah, it's really nerve-wracking. I don't know how it will be received, because this is the kind of industry, obviously, as you know, that like it's not like you work hard and it pays off. You know, it all depends on how somebody else takes it, and anyone can react to your song based on so many other factors, you know, and you can't control those factors. There can be environmental factors, such as somebody's just having a bad day, listen to your song, they associate your song with a bad day, no, they don't like your song. So it's always, it's out of my control, and I love things to be in my control. I'm usually the kind of person that always gets what they want, because I've always been in an industry where I work hard and I get what I want, get my good grades, get my good job, get my good everything. So this will definitely be a very interesting experience for me.
I feel that you are right. It is an industry where it's not based on any form of merit other than someone else's opinion.
Absolutely.
It is wild. I think that there's almost like a non-artists or people in the industry, sometimes I think maybe either forget or don't have the knowledge that like it's not just a 3-minute song that you kind of threw together and released. There's so much work behind all of this kind of stuff. Yeah,
definitely. Not saying that like, other people like the layman shouldn't be allowed to judge my music. No, absolutely they should, because they're somebody who hasn't, you know, seen my life and is looking at it from a different perspective. And so many times in this world, all you need is a different perspective. And I think it's perfect. And I obviously respect and love my audience more than probably I've seen anyone love anyone. But yeah, it's terrifying because my entire life's work will always be based on what other people feel about me, you know?
This season, Instacart has your back to school. As in, they've got your back to school lunch favorites like snack packs and fresh fruit. And they've got your back to school supplies like backpacks, binders, and pencils. And they've got your back when your kid casually tells you they have a huge school project due tomorrow. Let's face it, we were all that kid. So first, call your parents to say I'm sorry, and then download the Instacart app to get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes all school year long. Get a $0 delivery fee with your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 an order. Additional terms apply.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Yeah, of course. The EP does have a very interesting title, and I'm curious if you could explain Broken Science Experiments to us.
Well, essentially, it started off as an inside joke between like management and I, where we would talk about how me bringing a song every day, because the EP was written so like swiftly. It flowed like one after the other. A song was written either every 2 days or 3 days, and all of that was one EP. I would bring like one demo back, and it was a science experiment because I've never really learned or trained how to write music, even really play music or anything in music. This is not what I've done for the majority of my life. So everything was like this big science experiment, and I love science, which is why I called it Science Experiment. And because it was a demo, it still needed fixing up. But so it was like basically a broken science experiment. But also, if you look at it from a broader perspective, like I'm a broken science experiment because I'm still growing and I'm evolving. And because like biologically I am on this planet, I am a science experiment in a way. Probably something else's science experiment, like some bigger person or whatever. So all in all, it was just like, like when I say it right now, I don't even remember most of it, but I know that's what it's meant to be. I know it's supposed to be broken science experiments. So like, I just trust my gut. Like it was something that we came up with, and management and I loved it, and we said, yeah, that's the EP name, and there's no like two ways about it. There's no overthinking, and there's nothing.
I'm very curious on your mentioning that you weren't like that. This is all kind of new to you, and that this is like not what you kind of thought were like where your life would be. I know that you were raised in Mumbai, and that your family is very musical. I think everyone, or.
Well, yeah. I mean, everyone's musical. We like music. We listen to music in the house. We enjoy listening to music. I feel like most people think that, my family's musical. They're all professional musicians. No, they're not. No, they're absolutely not. My dad just likes to listen to music, and he is learning how to play the guitar. My sister knows how to play the guitar. She likes listening to music. My brother introduced me to every piece of music that I was exposed to till I turned like 14 or 15. He really taught me to sing, he taught me to dance, and he taught me everything I know about music. And my mom is musical too. She likes to listen to music, and that's about it. I was born in Bombay. I only came to Australia, like moved here in 2019 February. And I did it because I was pursuing my Master's of Counseling Psychology degree. at the University of Queensland. So I came here to do that because I did my master's in like psychology from Bombay before that. And I was just studying before that. I never really took a break. I'd just been studying all the time. And then I came here and I'd written some songs in Bombay and gained sort of some, like a little bit of traction there. And then I just, while I was building, I just don't remember. I don't even know like why. I just left everything and I came here. And I just started to study. And in my last semester, my final year, I was writing my thesis and I had a bit of a sad day. And I sent an Instagram DM to my management. At the time, they weren't my management. They were just some people I wanted to work with. And I'd wanted to work with them since 2018, since I got my eye on them. And I sent them an email, very embarrassing email, before in 2018. But obviously, I'd not received any answer for that. And I just was crying my eyes out. And I sent a text saying, could I please have a demo submission email? Such a random, casual message. And it turns out I got a response like, yeah, send it over here. And I didn't even have a mic. And I didn't know what to do. And I was freaking out because I had to get to work in 45 minutes. I used to work in a bar. I used to get to work in 45 minutes. And he wanted a demo. I went to work. I told him that I was feeling sick. I literally threw up at work, came back home, got my Instagram, got my phone voice recorder, put it on my little keyboard, and I sang a song that I wrote. And they loved it. I said, I'm sorry I don't have a mic. That doesn't matter. It's okay.
That's an incredible bold move by yourself to send that email, but it was obviously paid off. It's that's a lovely like signing story.
I feel like it was just a very improbable sort of story. Like it was just the right place, the right time. Like everything had aligned to that one moment because like how many people in management even spend that much time on a stupid Instagram page? And it was just right there at the right time. It was the most stupid DM. Like it was the one line and it just went from there. And, they didn't even know that I was from Bombay and I was so scared. Like, oh, I'm not Australian actually. And then when I went forward with that and they loved it, they just loved everything that I did. And it was just the most improbable thing on the planet. And it just, yeah.
That's incredible. I think, I can definitely agree with you that sometimes, a lot of the time, management are not paying attention to social media, but they're not going through every single message. So,
100%. Yeah, nobody does. I sent emails and texts to so many people in 2018, 2019. And then I left. So this boy, I was like in love with this man. I wouldn't say boy, and it wasn't going to work out. And as I was just slowly coming out of that, I was moving on. And there was this 1 month. It was July. I had some sort of, I don't know, like. There's this word for it, okay? It's from epiphany of sorts. And I just sort of grew out of him. And I said, I don't feel connected to this man who doesn't love me anymore. And I wrote a song about it. And then I went to sleep. And the next day I went out drinking and I got really drunk. I almost died. I literally almost died that night. I almost died, like crossing the street that night. And I woke up the next morning, cried, and I texted management, and that's how the story begins.
That's definitely not the worst thing to happen when hungover. That's probably the best thing to ever happen when hungover.
Yeah, it was just a very strange set of events. It was like I had to be ready for that to happen to me or something. I don't know. I'm not super spiritual, but it was freaky. It was so freaky.
No. I think that's very fair. I'm not spiritual either, but I think things do happen for reasons, and there's times and places for all of those kind of things to align. And if they don't at that time, it means that it's further down the track or for another time.
Yeah, definitely. So definitely.
I wanted to go back just a little bit. I know you mentioned your family went through that. Your brother in particular, I know that you're very close with, and that he kind of gave you quite a lot of bands, or like an introduction to quite a lot of bands. I think we've got Death Cab there for you, and Bon Iver. I think Lana Del Rey as well, he might have introduced you to.
Yeah.
What does your brother make of what's currently going on and you becoming this famous musician?
Well, my brother and I are quite similar, which means we are not affectionate people. We don't speak to each other at all. We'll send memes, we'll send cat memes to each other. But when we don't talk about music, he was actually the first person I told that, hey, I don't think I want to be a therapist anymore. I just got out of uni and this has been happening, and I'm being sent to Sydney right now to work under some very important people in some very important studios there. And it was absolutely the right move, because he's seen me grow and just love music. You know how like when you're a child, you want to be an astronaut. And then when you're older, you want to be something else. And when you're older, you want to be absolutely nothing. And then, something else. But I've wanted to be many things in my life, but I have always wanted to be a musician. Like that's always been there since I was like 4 or 5 years old. And he saw that, and he was just very proud of me. And I know he's so proud of me. I'm so excited to see him. I haven't seen him in 2 years. I'm just so excited to see him, just because since all of this has happened, these big changes, and now like I'm a musician, I just want to, be around somebody who like birthed that in me. He used to make me watch the OC when I was like so young. I probably shouldn't have been watching the OC, or like One Tree Hill, or Veronica Mars, or Charmed. And all those shows have such good music, and everything just stuck with me, and it's still with me. And I want to make music like they used to make back then. And without him, I wouldn't have that vision, So,
of course, the some of those connections sometimes, especially if it's helping introduce you to music or whatever, those relationships, and especially if it's a family member as well, are very special and very beautiful. Do you at all listen to, I know that there's a lot of TV shows that have podcasts at the moment. Have you listened to the OC podcast at all?
No, I haven't, but I know it's got Rachel Bilson in it, doesn't it? She's like hosting it. I think she had Adam Brody once, and I was like, I really want to watch this, because I'm like the female 2021 Seth Cohen. I am definitely Seth Cohen. Like, I think I'm Ryan, but I'm not. I'm Seth Cohen.
You definitely don't give me Ryan vibes. I can definitely pick up on like some kind of Seth attitude or like personality. Yeah. They recently had Adam Brody on, and then the episode after they had their music supervisor, and they spoke about all the music on the OC over the course of it, and it's an incredible listen. So if you did enjoy the music of the OC, or anyone who's listening to this podcast, definitely check that out.
Oh yeah, definitely. I read about that episode where that music supervisor episode where he was talking about the importance of having Honey and the Moon play in the first episode in the end when Marissa is right there and like Ryan is leaving. And that song is so close to my heart that when I left Bombay and came to Australia and went to my first home in Australia, that's the first song I heard. That is the first song I heard, and that will always stay with me.
That actually gave me goosebumps, that story. Ash, usually we would ask, I guess, what they're currently listening to at the moment. Is there any music at the moment that has taken your fancy?
Well, I listen to a lot of obscure old music. Either it's the 60s or the 2000s. I don't always enjoy the music that's being made in 2021. I feel like I'm not saying this to be mean, but I feel like a lot of it caters to different audiences, and I don't always feel like I'm a part of that audience. Not saying that, oh, look, I'm quirky and I'm different. No, I just don't. Like, it's just music. Like, chill. I listen to a lot of Sleeping at Last. So I've been listening to a lot of Sleeping at Last. But this song called A Comet Appears by The Shins.
Beautiful.
It was on a playlist that I found, which was also old and strange. But yeah, other than that, it's just your ex-girlfriend is dead. No, your ex-lover is dead, and music like that. You just strange music like that.
That is a fantastic, who's it, Stars?
Yeah, absolutely. Good taste. Your ex-lover is dead.
All learned from the OC, I think. It's an educational TV show.
Yeah. I love music from the old, like the old TV shows, just because if that's the vision that I'm following right now, and obviously I'll keep changing and my vision is going to keep changing, but if for now I want to make that kind of music, I will listen to that music. You know, it's like method acting.
Yeah, 100%. Could you, or would you at any point like to see Before or any of the other tracks on the EP possibly line up with its own sync in a TV show or what's the current day equivalent of the OC? Is there one?
Not that I've seen. Like, I feel like
Gossip Girl?
I have not even watched the old Gossip Girl to get into the new Gossip Girl. I feel like the old Gossip Girl was a little bit much for me. I didn't relate to it or enjoy. I feel like for shows to be like really enjoyable, I have to also enjoy the music. I have to like be completely settled into one character. I don't think I related with even one of those characters. I used to watch The Royals, but it got cancelled. It was a UK drama sort of thing around like the royal family, but it was all like different. Like there was a different princess, and she was like a baddie, and she was like spoiled, but also like in a very she was basically a rock star. You know, the way she dressed and the way she looked, and I really liked her. And that show had such good music. It was in fact made by what's his name? He directed it. The guy who played Nathan Scott on One Tree Hill.
I'll gladly admit I was in the era of the OC. I was slightly too old for One Tree Hill.
Yeah, no, same. I never liked One Tree Hill as much as I ever liked OC. In fact, I've never watched all of One Tree Hill.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But I've watched all of OC. In fact, I was watching OC last night.
It is 100% a show that you can revisit. I could spend another hour talking about the OC, but we will not take up any more of your time with the OC. Ash, thank you very much for chatting to us, and congratulations again on the single and the announcement for the EP.
Oh, no, of course. I'm just so excited for everyone to listen to the EP because it's just like for the people who were born in that era and heard music, like the ballads that were made in that time. I think this is definitely something that they could enjoy. And, you know, since they have the 2000s coming back, you know, they have like the Avril sound coming back, and they have all of that. And they have like My Chemical Romance coming back. Why can't they just have Two Door Cinema Club, Death Cab, and, you know, like all of those cool bands come back? Like, why can't, like, I would like to see, that's a bit of a stretch, but I would like to be that person, you know, who brings that back. So I'm just trying to do that right now.
As an avid Death Cab fan, we'll gladly look forward to you bringing that back. As you said, you are the female Seth Cohen, so I look forward to seeing what happens with the EP.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been absolutely lovely talking to you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for your time.
And that's our show. A massive thank you to Ash Lune for her time. Before is out now, and we've left links in the show notes if you'd like to stream the single. We also want to give a huge shout out to Ella at Positive Feedback for helping out with today's interview. You can find a link to our Spotify playlist in the show notes, where you'll be able to listen to all of our guests' picks. If you like this show, please subscribe wherever you get your pods and stay up to date when new episodes are released. We release new shows each Thursday and Friday morning, with guest playlists streaming on Spotify at the same time. You can follow the playlist profile on Spotify, and you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Until next week, cheers.
This podcast is brought to you by eHarmony, the dating app to find someone you can be yourself with. Why doesn't eHarmony allow copy and paste in first messages? Because you are unique, and your conversations should reflect that. eHarmony wants you to find someone who will get you. How are you going to know who gets you? If people send you the same generic conversation starters they message everyone else. Conversations that actually help you get to know each other. Imagine that. Get who gets you on eHarmony. Sign up today.